Welcome to the Black Educated Tea Podcast. I'm your host, Makeda Marie, and today's topic of discussion is the influencers. But as always, before we get into the tea, let's get into this tea. So I am drinking a Serendipity Tea, and it has components of peppermint, lemon, lavender, and there's a couple of more things in it as well. It's really relaxing, caffeine free. So it's really good. I definitely suggest you try it out. I just love the smell of it as well, and the look. It has a really pretty color to it. Really relaxing tea. I did add a little bit of honey to it. I want a little more sweetener to it. So I am drinking Serendipity Tea. Suggest you try it. It's really good. So let's go ahead and get into the topic. We're talking about influencers. And when I think of influencers, someone or something that can influence you, you can look at that in a positive or a negative way. We are all surrounded by influencers, whether it's a thing, a person, place, a thing. It could be either or. But I really want to just kind of touch on those influencers that always try to influence you or steer you in the wrong way, or really try to defer your dreams or your aspirations and things of that sort. So I really just kind of want to touch on that a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much on this topic at all. It's just something that came up to me really quick, and I just wanted to really speak on it. So, how are you being influenced? Really take the time and just think about it. What are you surrounding yourself with? Or who are you surrounding yourself with? And how are those things or those places or those people, how are they influencing you? Whether it's, people, are they influencing you in a negative way? Are you consuming certain types of foods or drinks or things that are not healthy for you that's influencing you? Or are you just in an environment that is not, positively influencing you? So just take the time out to really think about those things, because we're all influenced by something, whether we want to believe it or not. Whether it's something that's on TV, whether it's something that we're listening to, whether it's music, or whether it's even conversations that we are hearing. So how are these, conversations? How are what we're even watching? What you're visualizing will really influence you. So are you watching just, negative things and nothing just positive? Are you listening to all of these negative things because you're taking it in and it's influencing you, right? I love horror movies. I really do. It's probably my favorite go-to. I love horror movies. But at some point, I have to watch some comedy, or I have to watch some sci-fi, or I have to, I can do the love movies from time to time. Sometimes they can be a little mushy and, they can be very predictable. But, sometimes I throw a love story in there. But you have to have variety. I cannot watch horror all day, every day. I mean, there's no telling the thoughts that I would keep if I just watched horror all day. Even when it comes to television shows, or even when it comes to music. What music are you listening to often? I absolutely love hip-hop. I love R&B. I love soul. I love country. I love classical. I love a variety of music. But what are the lyrics, that you're listening to? What are the things that you're taking in when you're listening to this music? And then the thing of all is, for me, is people. Who are the people you're surrounding yourself with? And what are the thoughts that they're keeping? What are the thoughts that they're sharing? Or how they're influencing you? Because some people are dream killers, or some people are just, so negative. And how are they influencing you? I have, with me being a consultant, I do have my consulting business, for a consulting group. So, your girl does like 18 different things. But that's okay. I make it work. So I am a consultant, and a lot of my clients will come to me, and a lot of them be like, I don't like to share my ideas or my thoughts or what I'm trying to pursue or do, because some of the people around me are just so negative, and they would not influence me in a positive way. They would probably try to influence me not to do it because they don't understand it. So since they don't understand it, it couldn't possibly make sense. So they would try to influence me not to do it. And that's like one of the most heartbreaking things to me, because as people, we all need that support. No matter who it's from or what it looks like, we all need that support anytime we are trying to do anything. And just to hear people say that I don't like to share my dreams, or, the fact that I'm trying to start my business and I'm trying to do whatever it may be, I don't want people to know, because either they're going to look at it negative, or they're not going to support me, or they're not going to, understand it. And people have come to me with ideals and business ventures, and even if I do not understand it, it is not for me to understand. It is for me to listen to that person, to be supportive, for me to try to understand it, because it may be something that's just so far, and I'm like, I can't process that. But I'm not going to tell them that, because it's not for me to deter or to really not influence them in a positive way. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there to be like, that is a really good idea. And my response at times have been, I really don't know much about that, but I am really curious now to start doing my research to learn more on that topic, so I can become more knowledgeable on that. So never tell someone that's a stupid idea, because it really hurts people. And I've seen too many of my clients and just too many people that won't even share their ideas because family and friends are like, oh, that's stupid. No, don't do that. Why don't you do this? I can see you being a teacher, or I can see you being a nurse, and this person is like, but I want to be an engineer, or, I want to own my own business, or whatever. So never try to influence people to what you want them to do. And it happens too often. It gets to the point that people don't even want to share their ideas with others. And one of the most exciting things is when you come up with this amazing idea, and you always have a few people you like, man, I can't wait to tell her, I can't wait to tell him. And there's there's such a bad feeling when you don't even have people around you to share your ideas with, because they're looking at it in such a negative way because they don't understand it. It's so outside of their realm and their process and their thought of thinking that they're like, that doesn't make any sense. How could that even be possible? Why would you even want to do that? And luckily, I am that person, because I say I'm a consultant, so luckily I am that person that people can come to, and they can share their thoughts and their ideas with me, and I can help them make it make sense. Even if I do not understand it, it's not for me to judge it in no kind of way, because I never know what God has put on their mind and on their heart for them to do, and what they could be successful in. And it's not for me to tell them, no, don't do that. You may want to do this, or this may be a better field for you. It is not my place to do that at all. So how are the people around you influencing you? How are the people, places, things? How are they influencing you? And for me, there were definitely people, and there were definitely things as well that was influencing me, and not always in a good way. And so for the people that wasn't influencing me in a good way, to this day, I will still talk to them. I can even still hang out with them, but I have to be mindful on what I share with them, and I have to be mindful on how I approach them with things that I do in my life, which is very unfortunate, because you really, when you surround yourself with people and you consider these people to be, very close with them, you want to share your ideas and your aspirations and your dreams with them. And, that's not always the case. Because for some people, even if they mean absolutely no harm by it, because they just may not understand it. And if they don't understand it, to them it's not really a good idea. And it's really unfortunate that some people think that way, but some people do. But influence. We can all be influenced in a bad way. We can be influenced in a good way. I choose to be influenced in a good way, because it is a choice. Being influenced by a person, place, or thing is a choice. You do not have to stick in an environment that is not good for you, that is influencing you in a bad way. You do not have to be around that person that is influencing you in a bad way. You do not have to continue to partake and consume in whatever that food or drink or whatever it is, and you know it's not healthy for you. So I choose to have positive influences around me. I just do. And not saying that it's always going to be the case. It's not going to always look that way. Let's be real. We are surrounded by so many, different things in life. So everything that influences me is not going to be positive. But what I can do is take the positive out of it and just leave the negative to the side. Or even I can take the negative and keep it as a learning lesson. Everything has a lesson to it. So if someone is, I figure someone, something is not a good influence on me, I can take the good and I can take the bad out of that. But I refuse to continue to take the bad. I just refuse. And I'm trying to be. I'm not A1, I'm not perfect with it, but I'm trying to be really proactive in really watching what influences me and how I influence others as well. Because we all have to. We have to know how people are influencing us and how we are influencing them. And I choose to positively influence people just like I want people to positively influence me. And I'm not going to always hit the mark. I'm not going to always be perfect. That's just not how it is. But I would hope that people will take the positive and the negative from me on how I influence them as I do the same. And I want you all just to take a moment, take some time out and really just, sit down and think of how things in your life are influencing you, good or bad or whatever. And how are you taking those things and how are you growing and how are you learning from them? And I would just love to hear your thoughts and your comments on, how you take those influencers, no matter what it may be, and how you make it beneficial and how you make it flow with your life. And as always, this is the Black Educated Tea Podcast.